Hey guys, welcome back. As you can tell by the way that I'm dressed and the fact that it's super raining outside, you could probably guess what movie I just went to go see. That's right, Paw Patrol. I recently watched Blue Beetle, and by recently I mean I just got out of the theater. And I gotta say, it was a good film, solid film. Is it perfect? No. Also, by the way, if you guys want spoilers, you're gonna have to skip halfway through the video, or the timestamp down below, because the first half of the video I will do no spoilers and then spoilers. Sound good? Great, perfect, amazing. Blue Beetle, 2023, directed by Angel Manuel Soto. It follows the superhero origin of Jaime Reyes, a boy who just came back from college and suddenly he's bestowed upon him a magical alien scarab that gives him the powers of the Blue Beetle. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Before I get on to what I liked about the film, I think we should acknowledge the disappointments of the film, in that the film is very safe. I mean, it's a good old-fashioned origin story. You hit all your emotional highs, all your emotional lows. We'll talk more about this later, but there is one character who's introduced in the film, and right off the bat they say something that alludes to a medical issue, and in that moment I knew, okay, this person's either gonna get really, really sick or gonna die, and I was right. That is not a spoiler yet because you don't know who it is, but as safe as the film is in this current state of superhero movies, I think it works well. Traditionally speaking, I like when my films try to do something different. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but that's why I really enjoyed Captain Marvel, is because it tried to tell her origin story outside of the box, and I really enjoyed that. But that's fine. Like I said, in this current state, the film they're trying to make works well. On top of that, the cast is also really good. Zolo, he's a great Jaime Reyes. George Lopez is fantastic in this. Well, in all reality, the whole cast is fantastic. It's a tight-knit cast. I mean, most of the film follows the family, right? You see them in every trailer and stuff. And for the most part, they do a really good job. So it's hard to tell who really stood out. But if I had to point a couple, I would definitely say George Lopez. Zola did a really good job. Jenny's character, she was also pretty good. They hint at something towards the end of the film. And so these characters will definitely come back. Yeah, no, it was good. I also think the music choice was really good. Most of the film had this like 1980s like synthwave type music, and I liked it because it fit the aesthetic they were trying to go for in the trailer. These like neon blues, these neon purples, and I like that. And even though the film isn't set in the 80s or anything like that, the music it works well, and they mix it with a lot of Latin music because of course this is a very Hispanic film, very, very Hispanic. The family speaks a lot of Spanglish. I don't mind, for the most part. I think I don't know how many other people experience this, but at least in my theater, there were times where they would say something in Spanish and they would forget to put the subtitles, but that's fine. The villains were pretty good. Yeah, the main villain, Victoria Cord, she does a really good job. She's a good manipulator, and she if you watch the trailers, you'll know that there's a red Beetle, and he's more like of a henchman type character. But even he has his moment. We'll get more into that in a bit, but even he has his moment. So overall, I think they were really good. The film ends on a high note, as one would expect. It's also a very stereotypical ending, but like I said, it goes back to the whole like, the film is simple, but in today's superhero climate, it works. It's fine. This is technically the first film in the new DCU, and they mention Superman and the Flash in it. No particular version of Superman and the Flash, but they do mention them. So that's good to see. Which also brings up another point of whether if Superman Legacy is going to take place in modern day or a couple years before, because they make it seem as if Superman and the Flash have already been in this world. They've already done some stuff. So we'll see where James Gunn takes that. And there's also a lot of other Easter eggs to like the bigger DC universe, not just the DCU, but just DC in general. Like for example, like I said at the beginning of the film, Jaime graduates from college, and he's wearing he actually went to go study pre-law at Gotham Law, so that's really cool. And there's also a scene where somebody's eating Big Belly Burger, That's pretty fun too. It makes it feel like a connected world. As far as the whole the new DCU goes, they do a good job at isolating the story. They don't show too much, they don't show too little, they just show enough to make it seem like, hey, this could fit here or this could fit here. So that's good. Now let's get into spoiler territory. So if you don't want spoilers, well then this is the end of your review. Hope you had a good time. Very short video for you. I mean, come on. You want to watch the rest, right? First of all, I think for about 90% of the movie, the CGI is really, really good. They do a really great job at incorporating these visual effects with practical effects. I mean, if you've ever seen any of the behind the scenes photos, you'll know that he wore the suit. He had the full Blue Beetle suit. And in the movie, they add a lot of extra CGI elements to it. Like they'll make his mouth move, they'll animate his eyes, they'll add glowing lights, and it looks really good. And I say 90% because for most part, the film uses CGI kind of sparsely, but when it does it well. And most of the fights take place at night, which also helps with that. But it starts to get a little bit wonky towards the end when you have your typical final battle. The superhero fights the evil version of himself, and that's why I'm talking about the Red Beetle guy, who he is surprisingly very tragic. Right before he dies, they show the viewers his backstory, and you're like, damn, this guy is kind of sad. Also, I don't know this guy's name. They maybe said his name like once in the film, but besides that, I just know him as Red Beetle. Yeah, like I said, towards the end of the film, when they're fighting, the CGI does get a little bit wonky. Never as bad as like the first Black Panther movie where Killmonger and T'Challa are fighting at the end, like near the trains, but it still does get a bit wonky. But like I said, for the most part, it's really good. Also, Ted Kord isn't in this film. Well, he isn't kind of in the post-credit scene. I mean, this was kind of obvious. They say at the beginning of the film that he died, but then at the end, it's revealed that he is somewhere and that his daughter needs to find him, which I think is no surprise to anybody. They use a lot of his technology, and his technology is really cool because it was all created in the past, so it has this kind of 80s 90s style to it with obviously like future tech. I don't know, you know what I mean, you don't know what I mean, I don't care. Basically it looks old. It looks old in a fun way. Like there's one of the plot points of the film is that they need a key to get into Ted Kord's old mansion and and get all his toys and whatnot. And the key is this like old watch that kind of looks like a Tamagotchi. And also Ted Kord's suit in this it's beautiful. Sadly, nobody wears it, but it is a beautiful suit. Like I said, I think Vicky was a really good villain. You understand her motives. We never learn too much about her. We just know enough to be like, okay, I see why she does the way the things she does, and it all comes down to, well, she started this company, Kord Industries, with Jenny's grandfather, who was Ted Kord's father. When the grandfather had died, it was left to the son, Ted Kord, and so she was not happy about that. And then after Ted Kord died, she took over. But obviously now the daughter Jenny has taken back over the company, because at the end of the film, Red Beetle, he realizes, hey, Blue Beetle is a great guy and he loves his family and I love my family. Also, that's his tragedy. His family dies and it's really sad. But he realizes, hey, you're right, Blue Beetle, you are a good person, so I'm gonna do a good thing and I'm gonna kill this lady. And speaking of killing, this film has a lot of deaths that it doesn't acknowledge. There's a lot of deaths that they just kind of skim over. Like there's one part of the film where they're in this giant Ted Kord mobile, one of Ted Kord's mobiles that looks like a giant beetle, and it just casually just like sticks its claws in people and it just drags them, and you're like, okay. And they make a joke about it, but it's like, damn, it's kind of morbid. I mean, luckily Jaime is always like, yo, we can't kill. Scarab, don't kill. And the Scarab's like, I guess. But yeah, that part was kind of funny. Like I said, the cast is really good. It's a small cast, but they all do a great job. George Lopez is hilarious in this film. He's this crazy smart guy who's scared of the government, but he's so funny. And yeah, same with the grandma. Oh, and then the grandma if you, in the trailers, they show her holding like one of Ted Kord's like machine guns or whatever, and it's revealed that she's just a revolutionary, so she knows how to use a machine gun. It's really absurd, but it's funny. And it all goes to the big motif of the film, which is family, of course. I think it's kind of obvious, but as with many Latin American families, the idea of family is one of the most important aspects, and this film makes that its center. And it has a lot of corny and cheesy moments, but I think, like I said, it works well for this type of film. So yeah, that was my review for Blue Beetle 2023, directed by Angel Manuel Soto. If you guys haven't seen this film, go check it out. It's a fun ride. It's a good movie that I think everybody of all ages will enjoy, especially Latin American families. It is a very Mexican film, so yeah, it's a good movie. And as per usual, thank you for taking your time out of your day to listen to me talk about movies, because that's what I like to do. Talk about movies and make movies. So yeah, hope you have a great day, and thank you for listening. See ya.